YouTube, welcome back. Episode 155.
You didn't do your comment, like, share, subscribe.
There you go. Mm-hmm.
What we getting into today? What
I can
video?
move the thingy. There we go.
Feeling like I'm academics. Can't ride away. Jane Doe. Okay? All right. Let me get in the game. All right, cool. All right. So before the
I
jury
can't see your video, Ezel.
they said the judge is asking about things that's going to be used.
I can't see no
See
video. I
text
just
between Ms.
see
Ventura and Mr. Trump.
goats.
Shapiro says
Oh, what?
only the text should be
hold
admitted,
on.
not the photo. The AUSA says the jurors should only know that it's a screenshot,
Hold on.
not it's a text. Okay. AUSA says my error was only.
Hold on.
Judge says you made like screenshots as opposed to text. The AUSA says we. The judge says I'm not done. The says I'm sorry for interrupting you. The judge says I understand. I'm just not sure this is a hill you want to die on.
Now?
And then Driscoll pops in. By the way, Driscoll is someone we haven't seen talk to any witnesses.
I can see,
the,
like,
I think probably the 7th or 8th lawyer.
Yeah, I can see him talking.
We had to, remember
But
I read
it's
the words
small.
yesterday. I said Nicole Westmoreland is batting 1,000 right now. Nicole Westmoreland, Brian Steele, Tanny Garagos. We got Anna Stevio. Then we got Mark Agnifilo. We have Xavier Donaldson. Who else? Obviously Driscoll. That's 7 already. So I've named 7 lawyers, right? It's in their opening. They attacked Jane's credibility. They called it consensual. Okay, that's what AUSA says. And as you heard yesterday, Jane says she feels coerced. Now, why they're doing this is that when y'all listen to me read Jane Doe, aka 50 Cent's baby mom's testimony yesterday, sounded like she was saying she enjoyed this shit. She said she liked it. She thought it was taboo, but she wanted to make him happy. It was only at the end of her testimony yesterday she started saying, which by the way I thought it was a bad time to break because everything she said didn't describe her as a victim. Only at the end of the testimony, at the end of the day, did she say, "Oh yeah, I did the freak offs willingly at first to make him happy, but at some point he wanted to do too many freak offs all the time, and I wasn't with it." Okay, so let's go. So Driscoll says the government sent us 6 years, okay, of text messages. Then they somewhat reduced them. We stand by our objections. The foundation has not been laid. Judge says the government should lay the foundation. Johnson says we have laid it. Judge says bring in the jury and the witness. Comey says good morning, and she's now talking to 50 Cent's baby mama, Daphne Joy. Good morning. How many times have you traveled to Las Vegas? Jane says once on Sean's plane. He was hosting an event. Then he wanted entertainment for the night. We had that. He said, what do you mean by entertainment? He said, entertained. We had sex. That's what Jane Doe says. Okay, 50 Cent's baby mom. AUSA says, what did going off the grid mean? Getting freak. Did Sean call you a freak? Jane says yes. He wanted me to be wild and sexual. Did you ask Sean if the entertainers could wear condoms? She says yes. First time with Dawn and another, Sean guilt tripped me out of it. It wasn't something he wanted to see. So Diddy didn't want to see the male performers with condoms. Comey says, what was his tone?
Nika can't join.
Hmm.
Nah, I'm saying because it's like a rated R episode.
You're sad.
No, I said this is like a rated R episode.
Oh. And he talking fast. Or did you speed it up?
Yeah, I sped it up.
Oh.
Who just joined? Pia, all right.
So what is he got the transcript or something?
Yeah, this guy that he's reading, I guess he's in the courtroom or something. He's reading the tweets.
Between Diddy, Combs, or whoever he is today, and Jane?
Yeah.
Oh.
His defense team versus state.
Mm-hmm.
Condescending. AUSA says, did he say why he didn't want the entertainers to wear condoms? By the way, let me tweet this out, chat. Let's tweet this out. Hear that? I know it. Okay, I see what happened, chat. I had motherfuckers out by the pool, but the landscapers came by. Yeah, today's Friday. It's landscaper.
What? I
Okay.
can't
All
follow
right.
him. He
Cool.
talked to.
I tweeted out. Here we go. AUSA Comey. It says, what did you mean? So entertained. We had sex. So what do you mean going off the grid? It was getting free. Did Sean call you a freak? Yup. He wanted me to be wild and sexual. Did you ask Sean if the entertainers could wear condoms? So yes, the first time with Don and another. Sean guilt tripped me out of it. It wasn't something he wanted to see. Comey says, what was his tone? He was condescending. Did he say why he didn't want the entertainer to wear a condom? He just didn't want to see a rubber. Did you raise it ever when sober and not in the hotel room? She says yes. Says, was this ever recorded? She says yes, one that I'm aware of. I'm trying to ask the entertainer if he could wear a condom, and the dude says he's looking for it. Yo, this is nasty work. Comey says, I would like to call this
So what he's saying is, P. Diddy, whatever girlfriend he had at the time, he would pay entertainers to come over there. He would watch.
Did he?
Yeah. And the girls that are testifying are like saying, yeah, we had sex with entertainers, this and that. He would watch. Stuff like that.
Mhm.
Diddy is sick.
He surely is.
exhibit with the date. Did you listen to this?
He is. He's sick.
Y'all think he gonna be guilty?
Should he be guilty? Probably yes. I mean, not probably yes, because I think he did some awful things. But I still ain't heard like all these, like the other crimes that he supposedly committed, like the RICO Act, the trafficking, and all of that. I ain't heard nothing. Domestic violence, assault, and stuff like that. Yeah, but I ain't heard nothing with no RICO Act or whatever. Not unless it's coming down the pipes and they setting it up.
Oh no.
Jane says yes.
So it's kind of hard to say right now because I'm like, I mean, can he be convicted of being a freak? No. I mean, the stuff that he did was wrong, like the the abuse and stuff. It's on tape with Cassie, so he can't deny that. But I don't see no RICO Act or nothing like that. You know, people don't get years and years and years in jail for domestic violence, not unless they're a repeat offender, and then they, end up unaliving somebody and stuff like that. But kind of hard.
They said that he lit another rapper car on fire.
He did.
Dang.
Cootie, Cotty,
Kid Cudi.
whatever. Yeah, that was Cassie's like boyfriend. And I guess when he found out they was together, he or somebody he know threw a Molotov cocktail or something in the car. He testified.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Here we go.
AUSA says, did you read the transcript that's up on the screen? Jane says yes. Comey says, let's start at 8 minutes and 20 seconds. When you said, I think they've in their chair, what were you referred to? So I guess she was saying, no, we do got condoms, nigga. So I guess she's trying to request the guy wear a condom. Diddy don't want a condom because he got an Astroglide just whacking it. And she's like, oh, you don't got a condom? There's some condoms over there trying to get the nigga to wear a condom. AUSA says, what did you understand what Sean meant when he said you were just taking that dick? Jane says that we already had interscope. No, not interscope, intercourse. Comey then says, and when he said if you don't touch yourself right now, what was he saying? To just move on. AUSA says, why did you think you needed permission from Sean for the man to have sex with your body? Wait, why did you think you needed permission from Sean for the man
That's
having
what
sex with
I
your body?
don't like. They
You're a
flip
condom.
it back on the
It's an objection.
woman.
Overruled. You have a sidebar. Sure. Holy shit. Okay. They're come back. Or they've came back. By the way, let's go look at 50 Cent's. Oh my God, I'm all over the place today, chat. Why am I all over the place? I'm all over the place, huh? 50 Cent. Here we go. Hey, mom. Elon and Trump. 50 is.
What?
That's 50. One of the girls was
We gotta
50
run a poll.
Cent's
Is this an L for
baby
50?
mama.
Because 50 did pick this woman to be the mother of his child. And now she's getting freaked off for $750 a day by Diddy, his arch nemesis. Okay? Let's get back to it though. They're back. He said, why'd you say no? Okay? She said he'd get agitated. He said, how would intercourse with an entertainer end? He'd finish on me. Then what would happen with Sean? Well, after the dude finished on her, she says she would have sex with Sean. How would you clean up? He said, would you clean up the man's cum on you? She says, no. She says, why not? Sean liked it. He liked to play
Hell no.
around with it. Holy shit, bumbo.
Nasty.
Bati fish. Hold on.
That's disgusting.
But my thing is, I don't like the fact how they sit up there and try to like degrade a woman. If she's like, if he was really crazy like this, narcissist, abusive, controlling, she didn't have no choice to do some of that stuff if she's telling the truth. So I mean, he used his power over these women.
I think they said like 2, 3 years.
He's been doing it longer than that.
Now with this girl, because one of these girls is like from like last year. She was with him when the shit went down.
With
The new
Cassie.
when the news came out, yeah.
Yep, I think, yep, I heard that too. But just look how long Cassie was with him though. But then when he started hanging out with her, she was younger, just getting into industry. So he was using that I'm gonna make you big and all of that stuff. And then when she would try to, get away, he would, tell her he's gonna blackball her. She ain't gonna make it in the industry. I'm taking this away. You're not gonna get no deal, no record deal. So he's a narcissist and he's a manipulator and abuser and everything else. He used his power over them.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get pulled so far in it, they can't get out. And people always ask, well, why do people stay in an abusive relationship? It's hard for them to break away. It's not that they don't want to leave. And then the manipulation. But yeah, but I just don't know how they gonna get him with no RICO Act.
I mean, if he forcing them to do what he wants to do while he got the power on them and they don't want to, I guess he's forcing them to travel and do shit.
But that's not the RICO Act. The RICO Act is like he's like the top of like an organized crime thing. They ain't laid that part out, but yeah, like if he had Cassie going across state lines and younger girls going across state lines, I can see, if they can prove it, trafficking for that. But I just ain't seen them do like charging the RICO, where they making them seem like he got this big organization. So, but yeah, he's sick.
Hmm.
He's sick.
Hold on, I got it. Yo, send me this. Yo, send me these two tweets. Memes. Grant or chatting. Send me these two tweets. I need them for the Instagram and a Twitter post. I got to clown him. Sean liked to play around it because I told niggas that Diddy was gay. Everybody's like, how is he gay? Just because he like nut rubbed on his nipples? I'm like, yes, that's how he's gay. That's how he's fucking gay.
Oh my
Fucking gay.
God.
Ain't nothing wrong with being gay, but he's fucking gay. Everybody was like, that don't really mean he's gay. He's not really fucking the men. Then you get niggas like Vlad, love Vlad, but Vlad's like, how do we really know Diddy's gay? We never heard of him fucking a guy. You don't need to fuck a guy to be gay. You're playing around with semen. You're rubbing it on your nipples. You're fucking gay. Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh Lord.
So Sean liked it. He
Too
liked to play
much.
around with it. And then what? Yo, here's my thing that's like tripping me out about like even Diddy doing that. Like, did Diddy have a medical condition? Did Diddy not realize he also produces semen himself? Why didn't he play with his own semen? Like, it's confusing to me why Diddy. Well, I don't know. I guess you can say that about every gay guy, right? Be like, don't you have a dick? Why are you obsessed with somebody else with a dick, right? Yeah, I guess I'm asking a
Oh
stupid
my
question.
God.
Okay, I'm asking a stupid question. Yeah, a gay nigga just likes gay shit, right? Because I'm just thinking, bro, you could ejaculate yourself and play around with your own semen if you just like playing around with semen. But that's not the real thing. The real thing is that this motherfucker likes the ejaculation of other men. That's what it is. It says, why not? Sean liked it. He liked to play around it. Then what? Said, I take a shower and get ready for the next one. Bumbleclot. What? The next one? Yo, she would just.
See? There has to be something with the RICO.
How?
Kidnapping.
How is that? How?
They doing it for hours.
That ain't kidnapping.
Another guy would come in. What are you talking about?
That is not kid. I
That's
mean,
sex trafficking.
did she say she was forced to stay and could
Sex
not leave?
trafficking or prostitution or something.
No, she was involved with him doing this stuff. She didn't like
Yeah,
to
but she
do it. That's
so
not
you think
trafficking.
she wanted to do that?
You know what? I think a lot of them started out in the beginning liking it
So
and
you
he
making
took
it
it
sound
too
like
far.
Diddy not gonna be guilty.
I just don't, not unless I hear something more about the RICO. Now, I think he's going to be found guilty of some stuff, but I think those bigger charges, the RICO Act and all that,
So
I
you
just
saying he
ain't
not
seen
getting life?
that. And I think that's where the bulk of the years is going to come is from the RICO Act or RICO crime or whatever. Here, do you see anything about the RICO Act? Like he got this big organized crime.
I haven't. I stopped reading or hearing about that. I haven't heard much about that lately.
Saying I ain't heard nothing about the RICO Act, just all this sick stuff that he doing and did and forced them to do and manipulated them to do.
Look, read that.
What? Let me see.
You hearing it?
Yeah, I'm reading that. Yeah, I see where he's facing charges of sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. But have they brought that up in court? Only thing
Look,
they doing, I think they spending too much. What part? Yes, a love contract with Combs claiming she felt pressure to participate. Rihanna as a girlfriend. Now I see that part. Testimony about the balcony. I heard about that. But throwing somebody or attempting to throw somebody or scaring them that they're going to throw them off the balcony, that is not RICO. That is you being crazy and attempted murder, not a RICO. That's the problem. And I really and truly think they are spending too much time outlining the details of what's going on in the bedroom and all these little freaky things that he's doing rather than bringing somebody on saying, yes, he sent me to Florida. I went to this place on a plane. He sent me to this person's house and he put me on a plane to go here. I ain't heard that, just all this freaky stuff.
it happened in different houses, in different states.
Different houses, but have they said that?
Mm-hmm.
I know they talk about hotel rooms and I know he had a house in different states and stuff, but it ain't been no flying and going across to countries and stuff like that either,
If
so
they
they need to
going from
focus.
one state to another, they flying.
Well, I still don't think they proved that just yet. I think they got a lot more to do. They need to stop
She said she would take a shower and get ready for the next one, like the next nigga.
focusing on
This is how
showers
many
and
rounds
stuff.
would you go? Objection. That was overruled. Jane says every entertainer was different. Sometimes it was 3. So sometimes niggas would like nut 3 times on her. Okay. Not 3 different niggas. Um, it says would
So
would
this is the
decide. It
court
says who would
transcript.
decide
Yeah.
if you could stop or when you were tired. She starts crying. She's like, Diddy. So she says, Sean. She said, do you need a moment? She's crying. She says, I'm sorry. What was your question? She says, how did you say you wanted to stop? Jane says, I would say I'm hungry. I would make little faces. Jane says, I'd send him subtle cues. Comey says, I say USA. What would he say? He'd say, "You're not getting tired on me, are you? Let's go out on a high note. Let's finish strong." Yo, Diddy was a fucking coach. Yo, let's finish strong, yo. Yo, let's get this nut up. Let's get this nut up on out of this nigga. Come on now. It's like a football coach. You know? When you hit that hole, just make sure you hold the ball and just finish up strong. God damn. What would Sean give you to keep you awake and having sex with the entertainers? She says ecstasy. Comey says, "Did you ever cry after one of these hotel nights?" She says twice. Tell us about the first time you cried. I thought it was a date night, a one-on-one. But he said there would be an entertainer, but just a quick one. I hung onto that, but for 18 hours.
See?
What? After 18 hours and 3 rounds with the entertainer, Sean said he had to leave. I started crying. Comey says, "Were you with someone else?" Jane says, "I was with Sean." Wow. So 18 hours with the guy, 3 rounds. Diddy says, "All right, yo, listen, I got to call. I got to leave." So you could imagine these women are doing this thing supposedly to pleasure Diddy, but essentially at some point, Diddy would like not, it's interesting the dichotomy of the freak off. They're having sex with other men for Diddy's enjoyment, but they want to make Diddy happy so much. Their enjoyment is that after Diddy gets his little kink out, they would have sex with Diddy and they'll be like, "Oh, okay. All right, everything is good because now I fuck Diddy and he's good and he's happy, sexually satisfied." She feels kind of empty after she fucks an entertainer for 18 hours. And when Diddy was supposed to fuck her, he tells her, "I gotta run." And that probably, caused an emotional response, so she started crying. So were you with someone else? Jane says, "I was with Sean. It was in the Waldorf of Beverly Hills in the early of our relationship." He said, "What did Sean say?" Jane says, "He said, 'Are you crying?' Like he was looking disgusted at me. Then he just sat there listening to music. I was clinging to him. He said he could move things around with his family and I could go home with him. I just wanted to be in his arms after all that." Comey says, and after the second time, Jane says, "I was in the shower after one of those nights." So the second time she was crying, she was in the shower after she just got boned and piped out by all these men. And she starts stuttering, and AOSA says, "Is your memory spotty? What do you remember?" She says, "I was so high. Like I was having sex with Paul, then I was in the shower with Sean. He said, 'Stop it. I'm too high. Stop.'"
One of the entertainers.
He said, "Paul? Who's Paul?" So Paul's one of the entertainers. So were there hotel nights? Were these hotel nights work for you? So they're almost asking her like, "Are you a sex worker?" Okay? They're literally just asking her that. Okay? Were hotel nights work? Did you consider it a job? Like you had to do fucking. Objection. It got overruled. She says, yeah, it was work from start to finish. 50 was right. She's a little sex worker. 50 was right. 50 was right. 50 was right, bro. Damn, it was work from start to finish. What did you do to get them to end sooner? I try to have sex with the entertainers fast. So what did you do to speed things up? I do foreplay and I bring them into the room. Sean would say, "Slow it down, girl. Slow it down, baby girl." More foreplay. What words would he use? It's objection, time frame. So that's fair. It says, remember she says early in the relationship, May to October 2023. So AUSA says May 2021 to October 2023. What would Sean say? Jane says, he'd say, "I'm not ready to see that yet." So I guess when she was trying to rush to fuck because she wants it to be over because she's like, "All right, if I fuck quickly, it's over quickly." Diddy would say, "No, slow it down, baby girl, slow it down." Defense asked for a sidebar. The judge says, "Sure, holy." They come back again. Comey says, "How did you feel?" Jane says, I just wanted to be with Sean at the end." So where would you go? I would go to his residence. He said, "Was any part of these hotel nights you enjoyed?" She said, "Yes, just being with Sean." Comey says, would he text him? I don't know. They're saying, would Diddy text the sex workers? I don't know. I guess, or what would you text him? Maybe that was the thing. Jane says, "Yeah, I would text him to say I love you." So did you text him that you wanted to have sex? Jane says, "Yes, I would text him that I wanted to have sex, but with him." AUSA says, "Did you ever text him that you ever wanted to have sex with others?" Jane says, "Yeah, I did." Oh my God, that's a freak. That's a freak. But again, remember, this is under the context of this is a woman who supposedly is victimized. She never really wanted to have sex with other people, but she basically is claiming that she would indulge in Diddy's fantasy to the point she would text Diddy to say, "Who you want me to fuck today?" type shit, Wow. She said, "Yes, I would text him and say, no, I want."
So he's still not guilty?
I mean, he is. I never said he was not guilty. I just, for whatever reason, have this feeling the RICO Act and all of that. That's gonna carry the weight of the charges, and not unless they keep coming with something else, because clearly the defense is laying out that these women, I know that were victimized and a whole bunch of stuff was done to them, but they're portraying them as being a part of it, being this little arrangement, going along with it. So, I mean, you got to keep in mind it's a jury too. So they're hearing this stuff, and that one little seed of doubt, if they hang on these RICO charges, I just don't think he gonna get found guilty on them. But yes, giving them drugs, manipulating them, abusing them, trafficking them, possibly, yes. But they're trying to make them lay out to be like they knew what was going on and they were doing it and probably getting gifts and money and things in return. Like he just said earlier, she was a worker. So that's what the defense is laying out, trying to lay out, planting that little seed of doubt. Yeah.
To have sex with others because it was his fantasy. He said, did you tell you wanted to text? Huh? Yes. Did he tell you what to text? Yes. I guess she was texting the sex workers. He asked, what do you want? Be explicit. AUSA says, why did you write these things? He says, I wanted to make my lover happy. He says, look at this one from November 9th, 2021. What did you write? She said, I wrote, I'm horny for you. Comey says, you don't have to read it, but you did write it. You wrote, I want to suck Paul's dick. Why did you write that? So I guess she texted Diddy that she want to suck Paul's dick. They're asking her, why'd you write that message? She says, I knew me saying that. I knew it would turn Diddy on. Who was Paul? An entertainer. They've asked that twice now. You've texted him that you wanted to stop having hotel nights, right? She says, yes. Comey says, what did you write here? Jane says, I'm so much more than being left in a dark room. My heart is breaking. I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. I feel it's the only reason you pay for the house. We need to talk like adults. Comey says, how long had, the things, chat, this is the thing about entertainment, man. Anytime, ooh, okay. My favorite type of Texas right here. Ooh, Lee. Oh, they arrested somebody So. The things you see some of these women who live this extravagant lifestyle, this is what I always tell people who are regular, I was having a conversation with a group of people the other day. And I'm like, if you have anything else, you think it's family, you get family, then it's, well, you're saying it's from a place of privilege because you have money. And I said to them, I'm like, listen, you live whatever life. I wish I had a son. Real talk. I think a lot of times when people, it looks so glamorous. Like Washington, she, and they're I went on this little, I didn't need to go on this little exit route in terms of trying to make a point here, but it just kind of shows how dark her life was. Like her life at that point, she is fucking and doing whatever Diddy wants to maintain a lifestyle that she probably felt like she was imprisoned by at that point. Because here's the thing, I always say this about men and women. Most men, so I'm speaking in generalities.
Here we go.
Men never downgrade sexually. Women never downgrade lifestyle-wise. So when you were with 50, you got treated to a certain type of lifestyle. It's impossible for her to go down. She don't want to go down and now have
So
to
wait, this woman
get a job.
is 50
Right?
Cent's ex-girlfriend?
This is baby mama.
Oh. Wow. The one that's on the stand now.
Yeah.
Because she been on there for like 2 or 3, almost 2 days, going on 3 maybe, if they didn't end it today.
Yeah.
Wow. That's why 50 don't like him. Well, not why, but probably one of the reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I didn't know that.
She wanted to get a job. She wanted a sugar daddy. She probably it was more than a sugar daddy. She looks beautiful. There's probably a bunch of dudes who would pay her some money or pay her rent. She wanted a lit guy. She wanted a guy in the music industry. She probably was attracted to some of that fanfare that came along with it. And you get to see she was down to do a lot to keep that lifestyle. Okay, I'm sorry I went on that little detour, but here we go. So she texted Diddy, I'm so much more than being left in the dark of a hotel room. My heart is breaking. I don't want to play this role in your life anymore. I feel it's the only reason you pay for the house. So she's acknowledging the only reason why you pay for my house is because I keep doing these free calls for you. We got to talk like adults. So how long has he been paying for your rent? 5 months or so. AUSA said, did you see drugs in the hotel rooms? They objected. It was overruled. James then says, yeah, there was ecstasy, Molly, cocaine, pink powder. I think that's called Tusi. Says, who gave the drugs to you? She said, Sean. Comey says, did you ever see any of the entertainers? Okay, I can't see that. Yeah, ever seen any of the entertainers taking drugs? Jane says no. That was my one rule. I told them they couldn't take drugs, the entertainers, the escorts. I didn't want them to be out of control when they were with me. It's kind of interesting because she's kind of delicate. She kind of comes off a little bit like, very, remember, she's in her 30s. She's not like Cassie, just let's get lit. Like, no, she's a little bit womanly, you know. But she's doing these things, and she claims Diddy's teaching her new things. But she didn't want like dirty sex. You could tell she was like, could they use condoms? Diddy was like, ain't no fucking condoms up in my freak off. Fuck a condom, right? Then she would basically prevent them from doing drugs that, they wouldn't probably get aggressive with her or start doing things that could make it out of control, because sometimes, drunk sex or high sex could be a little bit different, right? AOC Comey says, why did you feel you had to take these drugs? Jane says, otherwise it would be too real. I wanted to. I don't know. And then she's trying again. He said, I wanted to feel like it would make things easier. I guess they said earlier, but easier. Did you ever do hotel nights without drugs? She says twice. Once with Paul. She's mentioned Paul multiple times now. Comey says, why didn't you take drugs that time then? She says, I didn't want to do that to my body, but it's real, too real. So I asked Sean for a pill. Did he give you a pill? Yes, I felt better. So the second time, she says, I didn't, so she didn't take drugs twice. Once was Paul, maybe this was with Paul. The second time, she says her partner was taking too many pills, so she wanted to stay sober. Jane says, he said, I'll do 30 days without drugs, but let's have one last sobriety party at the L'Ermitage. Comey says, how did it last? Jane says, too long, 18 hours. AUSA says, what happened? Jane says, the first guy, the second guy, I wasn't feeling too well. I threw up. I told Sean I threw up. Comey says, what did you say? He said, that's good. Now be ready for the third guy. Holy shit. Nah, Diddy's a demon. Diddy's a demon, chat. Diddy is a motherfucking demon. She fucked two dudes, and she's...
What is that called?
What?
He forcing her to do this.
That's like, I mean, it depends. I mean, I don't know what word you're
She threw
looking
up,
for. It's
and he
like,
said, "Now you're ready. Now be ready for the third guy."
yeah, but it's like he pimping her out, prostitution. He's her pimp or whatever, but they gonna make it flip it and make it seem like he's probably like they're escorts under him, getting all of this money and the houses and the rent and the this. That's why I said it's crazy that women are put through this, because when they're on the stand, the defense just try to flip it to just make them look bad. And that's, you got to keep in mind, that's what the jurors is looking at when they give them those instructions. They have to take into consideration the way they're answering these questions when the defense is coming at them. So that's why I said, through some of this, they're trying to make it seem like she was cooperative, even though he was forcing her. So, but I mean, it's wrong. It's it's flat out wrong. He knew what he was doing. I think he just got these women early on, wined and dined them, flashed his money, bought them all these things. I'll do this. This will be the first and last time. And then, they hang with him. He throw a little bit more money. And then when he rope them in, they used to this lifestyle and this money. And then they so far in it, they can't get out. And then by that time, he's manipulative. He's probably abusing them physically, mentally, verbally, threatening them, and then they stuck. They feel stuck.
throwing up. Diddy says to her, hold on, girl. We got to get to the third nigga. Wow. Does anyone know somebody with this type of kink? By the way, this type of, and that is normal in certain precincts. A bit alarming for me. Remember I said that Kim respect for her and wanted to just denigrate her. Looked at it. 11 years. He met her when she was 19. Look at this woman here. This
See?
woman is in her 30s. She's already a baby mama for another lit person. It's impossible that he's just trying to like punish this. He doesn't have history with her like that. Or maybe he's doing it. I don't know. Maybe he's doing it because he don't like 50. Nah, but that don't sound.
Mm. So he's saying Cassie was 19 when he first
Cassie was
met her,
young too.
and then the other girl was whatever, 50 Cent's baby mama. But look, y'all like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is part one, the reaction to this crazy ass Diddy case.
And tell
One
them y'all
family.
drop Our endless connections.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
about to
tell them to
end.
drop their comments on how they think it's gonna turn out with the RICO charges.
We gotta do
Do
more
they
research
see
too.
do they see it coming, or is the defense laying it out?
I don't know. I gotta do more research.